All right, so let's talk about a few movies now. I will start off with Bottoms,
Sure.
which just to get out of the way, I just saw I saw the thumbnail for the trailer, but I never sat down to watch it because I don't know why. I just didn't do that, right? Maybe I should because I felt like I would have known what I was getting myself into, right? So what it is, it's more like a satirical take on the whole teen sex comedy, right? I mean, something that's been going on since like what the late 70s or 80s, right? You know, Porky's, Animal House to extent. What else? Like, but especially like in the 2000s, it really blew up even more and took a even more edgy and satirical vibe to like say not another teen movie or Euro Trip, right? Actually, one of my favorites of that genre, right? Love that show, right? But yeah, this is kind of satirizing that, but it's also from a feminist
Right.
stance in a way, right? Another reason why I wanted to see it is because it features two people that I am familiar with. That would be Rachel Sennott. Last time I saw her was an old HBO show called The Idol. And yeah, well, if you want to know my thoughts on it, they were mostly negative. Yeah, you can check out my review of that, right? Also, it has Ayo Idiberry, right? Ediberry or Idiberry, right? Who I didn't even know about for a while until I saw the bear. I was like, oh, okay,
Right.
that's who she is, right? And then, of course, she played April O'Neil
In
in
a new
the
right, in new
pre-first Ninja
turtles, yeah.
Turtles, right? Yeah. And, but again, yeah, just keep in mind that I went in completely blind, right? I just knew teen sex comedy and these two were front and center, right? So basically, we see the best friends, PJ, who's played by Rachel, and Josie, who's played by Ao. They are lesbians, and they just basically trying to find a partner, right? They're both trying to find a partner. And if you're familiar with the teen sex comedy subgenre, it's all about, well, we're turning 21 soon, man. We can't be adults and we haven't get laid and we, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We can't be virgins, man. So it's like that, right? So while all this is going on, it's at this high school, right? And of course, there's this football team, and all the members of the football team are douchebags, sorry. And yeah, they really stress on the fact that they are douchebags, right? Remember, it's the genre that they're poking fun of, right? So through some circumstances, PJ, right, she decided, you know what? What would be interesting is if we like set up a club to because there was like a incident, like an off-screen incident that happened with one of the girls. Like she was almost assaulted by a rival football team player, right? And the setup later on that there's this like deep rivalry between the two of them. Like it usually ends with somebody dying, and it's weird, right? But it's kind of funny at the same time in a dark way, right? So PJ decided, you know what? Let's just have a club to get these girls to be able to defend themselves. But again, with the satirical nature of it, she decided to have it as a fight club, like a literal fight club, like David Fincher Fight Club, right?
Right.
So let's say like, okay. And she real playing like, oh, she and Josie was, they were in juvie and they had to fight and, claw their way for survival, all that kind of stuff. Now. So they're playing like these tough demeanors, like they exhibiting those tough demeanors. But the whole point of it all is just to find a girl and hook up with them. That's really what it is, right? And there's this upcoming football game that's coming up. So the rival, there's the whole thing about the rival football team going to decimate this one team here. And yeah, well, the one team here in particular, there's two guys in particular who kind of catch wind at what PJ and Josie are up to and the real reason behind why they're doing this whole Fight Club thing in the first place. And weirdness and absurdity and hilarity ensues. And I'll stop there, right? So yeah, again, I went into this thing blind. I didn't know we were gonna talk about fight clubs and rival football teams in this, but here we are, right? And I would say just overall, like just as an experience for this, right? This was kind of weird for me. It was kind of weird. But I guess like for me, I should have watched the trailer. I would actually recommend that you check the trailer out so at least you get the gist of what the movie is about. Because when I went in, I just thought it was just going to be your average teen sex comedy, but that's updated, right? I didn't expect the satirical nature of it. I didn't expect the absurd humor of it. And at times, I just felt like they were at war with each other, right? To the point where I'm just sort of wondering how much of this should I take seriously. And it gets even more challenging because they bring a feminist angle to it too. So, it's not just about fight clubs and all that, and, LGBTQ representation. Yeah, it's about how women were represented in films like that, right? Because I do like the idea that the roles are reversed here, the genders reversed here. So it's not just, dorky guys trying to get lead, but no, it's dorky girls, literally dorky girls trying to get lead. Well, two dorky girls in particular, right? And speaking of that, I thought that Rachel and Ayo knocked out the park, though they were great. There's a lot of improv in this, I could tell, but they do improv very well, especially Ayo. I was surprised at her comedic range, right? Because she doesn't have a kind of a quirky look to her anyway, but it works. Same thing with Rachel as well, because I've seen her, of course, in The Idol, but I saw her, like, my first really introduction to her was Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. And I felt like, yeah, she just kind of nailed that whole kind of quirky, I want to be taken seriously, but all they laughing at me, so fuck you, that kind of vibe, but it works, right? And yeah, I thought that they bounce off very well. The humor is very, fresh and, it's very vibrant, right? There's a lot that's going on, right? But deep down inside, there's like a nice little story of just characters just kind of coming to terms with who they are. And, it's just like what, at the end of the day, I just wanna feel like I belong, or I just wanna feel loved, right? So I like that the show take time, sorry, to explore that, and not just oh, I want to just get laid just because, right? If you're familiar with the teen sex comedy genre, it's always about the whole emotional aspect is about getting laid. But nah, not really, not in this sense, right? The supporting cast is decent as well. I was surprised that they had Punky Johnson, from
Okay, SNL.
SNL. She showed
Yeah.
up in that scene. It was weird, like the dialogue scene was weird, but that adds to the humor of it as well. But again, just going back to the weirdness, the story itself, it just went in some absurd directions, and like I get from a satirical standpoint what they're doing, right? They're just poking fun at shows like again, not another teen movie. Let me say like Wet Hot American Summer. It's like those early 2000s, sex comedies. That's what they're poking fun at, right? But at times it's just like, all right, really, how much of this should I really take seriously? I even pick up on some headers vibes from
Right.
it too,
Okay.
with the dark humor with it as well, especially when they touch on just how grimy the rival football team is, and that's the whole Fight Club thing and how serious you want to take it now. So it's like that, right? But again, just to wrap things up, I just felt like just looking back at it, I really should have watched the trailer so I'd have known what to expect. I expected something average. I didn't expect something so weird, right? But at times, I just felt like the brands of humor that they were touching on just seemed to clash with each other. So as a result, some jokes land, others don't. Like they just kind of come off a little like, all right, well, they're just trying a little too hard, right? Dial it back a little bit. Like there's a good story here, you have good performance here, but you don't have to go out of your way to gross me out or to weird me out or to be like, oh, that's weird, so I should laugh at it, right? You don't have to do that, right? So for me, rating wise, while I mean, just in general, while this isn't like the funniest comedy I've seen all year, it is certainly different, and I could see this having cult status in the near future, right? Just because of how different it is. It's kind of like Barbie in a sense where it's balancing different styles of comedy and whatnot.
Right.
But again, it's within the lens of just a subgenre that I thought was done, but here we are reviving this thing again. Okay, or whatever, but at least for the most part they make it work. But I just felt like just humor wise, it just kind of loses focus at times. It wants to be weird, but also want to take itself seriously at times too. So it was kind of different, right? But other than that, I see the intent and execution was fine, just didn't blow me out the water. So rating wise, I'll just give this a lighter, decent 3 out of 5. It was alright. It was alright for what it was. I don't see myself going back to this in a hurry, but again, I do see this having cult status in the near future just because of how unique and weird and different it was, right? So, yeah, if you're curious, check it out. But I would recommend that you at least be knowledgeable about the trailer first. So, because I imagine that pretty much tells you the show that you're gonna get, right? But if you're going completely blind, you'll enjoy it for what it is, but still you just be like, okay, what did I just watch? This is different, but whatever. But yeah, it's out on digital right now. That's why I'm talking about it now, because it didn't show theatrically, in Trinidad for some odd reason. I don't know. Maybe I guess it's the accessibility of the story or whatnot. But yeah, it's out on digital. So if you're curious, if you want to check it out for yourself, yeah, it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt.
Nice.
All right, and Ricardo, you will talk about A Haunting in Venice.
Sure.
So take it away, A Haunting in Venice.
Yeah, so this is the third in the Agatha Christie novels adaptations and starring what do you call him? Kenneth Branagh as Hercule Poirot. This one is Haunted in Venice. So what this one is about, it stars Michelle Yeoh as like a Madame Seer, soothsayer type, ancient time. We just talk about PB and the Buck, right? So it's about investigating the death or the ghost of this wealthy woman's daughter, right? And they find out how and why. And then the beginning, how the story tells is that Tina Fey, who plays this daughter, she invites Hercule Poirot because she couldn't figure out how this woman basically doing, what is she doing? Is she really communicating with the dead or whatnot? She just find it so impressive what she was doing. So Hercule Poirot, the skeptic, the detective will figure it out. Come through and figure it out and wondering how and why, what's going on. And that's involving a young precursor child and his dad, who's suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder from World War II. And it have the two what's called them Romani refugees running about trying to figure, and the assistance of Michelle Yeoh's character, and then Poirot himself, who has to figure out what's going on, and Michelle Yeoh dies in the beginning.
Oh wow!
So it's a murder mystery now. Murder mystery start, but he now himself, you're wondering how it is he having visions of something, and basically the whole mystery is involving solving this problem and explaining away what they do with it, and it plays like a horror movie. That's why it works. Plays like an interesting horror movie, but really it's using the horror concept to subvert the conceit of the murder mystery.
Right.
And then it gets into the emotional state of why the horror movie is the way it is. So it's like multiple layers of a story.
Right. And that would explain why...
I forget the name. I forget which Agatha Christie book the name of it is, but it's one of the lesser known books.
Right. And that would explain why the trailer in particular had a very horror movie vibe.
Right, yeah. It does look like a horror and plays like a horror almost entirely. But that's the subversion of the conceit, because that's the whole point is to throw you off base. And it's edited very strangely at parts, and it has some real cool like transitions in this.
Right.
Like that part involving like water and a boat, you'll see it in the beginning. If you want to watch it, you'll see it immediately. It has some real cool transitions. But all of that is feed into the thing, and they fully explain how this is happening, why it's happening, because it's happening to Poirot himself. So he himself is questioning his own sanity.
Nice.
And why that happening, and then he ultimately does solve it. Ultimately, I felt the payoff of the mystery could have been a little stronger, but look, it's Agatha Christie book, and it is this right how many decades ago. So I like, however, for its time, it makes sense, and it don't make sense updating the book. It's perfectly fine as it is, I think. But I felt they could have probably punched it up a little bit. Tina Fey is okay in this. I thought she would have been more annoying. She's not Liz Lemon, so that's fine. But I enjoyed what he was trying to do with her and what he was going for, and how her role in the whole thing comes together reasonably well. But Branagh as Poirot is great as usual. I really like the first of his films, as Orient Express. But what is River Nile or the River, or whatever it is. That one, the second one didn't work. It was just that just kind of fall flat to me.
So I've heard actually.
It fell flat. It's not like real bad or complete trash or anything like that, but I remember that it falling flat. Whilst I really...
All right. That's on the Nile.
That's on the Nile.
That's it.
Yeah, I remember that not liking it. This one I really like a lot. I like it about as much as the first one.
Okay.
It's pretty good. This is a little bit overshadowed by the Glass Onion franchise a little bit. I think I don't know why nobody's talking about this more, because they're reasonably well made movies. It comes together well, I think, and it tells an interesting story. Why this really works, as I said, is because of the ultimate like thematic arc of Poirot's character. Like what the ultimate emotional conclusion he comes to is good stuff. Because you could get into that subtext about religiosity and white people's belief, all this stuff, and the really emotional pain that is drive a lot of that stuff. And what you have to come to, and you say, basically makes the word demon, you use the words spirits and demons. You have to face those demons. But when you use the word demon, you're using the concept of metaphor versus the literalism of it. And what is, quote unquote, really going on, right? And what is being hidden, and what is being, as I say, when you're dealing with hysterical people, supposedly hysterical people, don't believe, don't take them literally, but take them seriously.
Right.
It gets into that. He gets into that really, really well. And the ultimate conclusion and the answer, when they solve the mystery and then they solve, what was going on emotionally, what ultimately happened. I really, really liked where it was going. And basically the message of the storyline is solid stuff. Rating. Yeah, I like this. I recommend it. I give it a time. I give it like a 7 out of 10, but closer to 8, 7 point something. It's there. It's closer to 8 than a 6. But I found myself a little bored with it. It drags a little bit at parts, but for the most part, it works. And I mostly because Kenneth Branagh holds it together as the main character. And that's the main reason why it works. It's solid stuff. I don't know if he's as entertaining as Benoit Blanc. Benoit Blanc is a little more exciting. Let's admit that. But it's good stuff. All things considered. Yeah, I dug this a lot. 8 out of 10. Well, 7 out of 10, but closer to 8, yeah.
Right. Quick question before we move to the last film. Do you think it would make for a great little Halloween,
Yeah, it's perfect for that, yeah. Because that's why it works. It's a good, it's not a horror story. But it frames itself as a horror story. It's marketed as a horror story, and it's understandable why it's framed as a horror story. It's just when it's time to answer the actual questions, it's not a supernatural or anything like that, but it is still a murder mystery. So it works as a thriller. Yeah, it's a good Halloween, of course, yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and we'll close things off with the Expendables 4, a.k.a. Expendables or Expendables, right?
Right, so before we start, fuck you, spoilers. This is the biggest piece of shit for the year, in my opinion.
Woo!
This is one of the worst movies I see. This is so bad, eh?
All right,
my God.
I'll do the preamble for this because I did not see this because I was hearing through numerous grapevines how bad this was, right?
Yeah, real shit.
Expendables, right? First one came out 2010, I think. But yeah, so I saw it in Palladium, right? That was one of the last few films I saw there, right? Or was it Windsor? I can't remember, right? At the time, felt it. The whole point of it is that it's harkening back to the glory days of 80s and 90s action films, right? That's why you had Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis, Stallone, and other people there. But you also had newer, or I should say, potential action heroes. So you had Terry Crews there. He had probably the most standout moment with that gun, that doom, 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 doom.
Right. With the AA-12, yeah.
Yeah, love that moment.
Yeah.
I balled on the place when that happened, right?
Yeah,
so, yeah. But it did fall into the whole, it's an action film from that, it's harkening back to that, so we had to take ourselves seriously a little too much at times. So it was like that. Part 2, I felt improved on that. It didn't take itself that seriously at all, but it was a lot of fun. They made Jean-Claude Van Damme into a formidable foe, though, you know what I mean? Even though I had a little issues with the final fight between him and Stallone, I thought that it was still worth it.
Yeah.
But it was worth it. And of course, the big highlight was seeing Chuck Norris, and I'll never forget me in the audience just standing up and doing this fake bow. It's we are not worthy bow, right? And everybody losing their goddamn minds, seeing then 72 or 71-year-old Chuck Norris walking to the Good, Bad, and the Ugly theme song. It was all right, cool. Third one, did not see because grapevines, I was hearing that it was bad. I was hearing that it just didn't work.
Yeah, sorry.
I remember Antonio Banderas being in it or something. That's what I remember. But yeah, I skipped that. And at the time, I just felt like, 2 of these were enough. I understand if you want to do a trilogy, okay, but we really don't need to do any more of these things. I'm sorry. So cut to 2023 now, and I see in a poster for Expendables, right? And I was laughing at, Expendables, we doing this again? Okay, really? Okay. And then the first trailer dropped, and for me, one of the big surprises was seeing 50 Cent in this. So I was like, all right.
Yeah. Terry Crews out. Right.
I mean, make your money, bro. I know about what he does, right? So yeah, make your money, bro. Okay, do that.
I gotta straight up say, they should make a Blood of the Sand movie over this.
If you know, you know, right? But yeah, ultimately, my mindset was like, why are we doing this? Like, like, because there's a huge gap now between 3 and 4, if I'm not mistaken, right? So why, outside the fact that these guys are still alive, right? That would be like Stallone and Dolph Lundgren and people like that. Like, they're still alive, okay. But yeah, why are we doing this? Why I don't know, right? I don't know. But yeah, I'll close to this. Oh, right. Well, yeah. So here I was hearing through the grapevine how bad it was. So I say, you know what? I good, right? I will wait till it comes out on digital because I don't want to see it for myself, but I don't want to spend money on it, right?
Right.
And lastly, speaking of money, points, if you will, boy, for the local cinemas here, boy, because like the action films of the 90s and 2000s, they was promoting this on TV, boy, and it really took me back to that era because usually you do not see trailers for locally releases in local theaters, not at all. But they push Expendables 4, boy. They push this like, oh my god, Expendables 4, you can't miss this, you mother. And I'm like, all this for Expendables 4, boy, really? Anyway, I talked long enough, so Ricardo, I guess you could share history with the Expendables franchise. I assume you saw 3, so I guess you could tell me how
Yeah.
3 was in your opinion. And
Yeah,
you
3
can jump
was
into 4.
terrible.
Right, but yeah, Expendables 1 onward.
Okay, right, yeah. So yeah, for me, when the franchise came out, it came out at the perfect time for what it was trying to do. Right, it catered to a particular retro era, a type of nostalgia. They're making it work for what it was in terms of that conceit of, well, let's go back to this action era of so and so. And all right, it was like, all right, fine, cool. It's decent. Terry Crews had a couple moments. Stone Cold was okay in it. You was all right, it's all right.
Stone Cold, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was the first one. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
he's
shit,
the
I
villain, one of
forget.
the villains. Anyway, 2 came out, more nostalgia made bullshit, a much lazier movie. That's when they started to do the CG blood splatter bullshit.
Mm.
I think it's Liam Hemsworth was in the beginning. He had a cool
Yeah,
moment.
and he get killed, and it's
Yeah,
like,
robot,
nobody
yeah.
cares.
Right, but the whole idea is that, well, the old guys, because
Yeah,
the young guy died,
yeah.
and, he had a couple cool moments as a sniper, whatever.
Mm.
Third one is always a time. Rubbish,
Wow.
pointless, piece of shit, tired, But
Who
here's
was
why...
the villain in that? I just forget villains.
I forget who the villain was in that. So yeah, he, lazy, pointless kind of sequel because they didn't know what to do with it. And again, since then, they should have... The secret sauce of this franchise is 2 things. One, bring back a bunch of old action stars from the 80s and 90s. So you bring back your Van Dammes, and I thought Seagal would have shown up at one point maybe.
Thank you.
Or something like that. Even though Seagal is trasher. But, but here's the thing. Action cinema in the mid-90s started switching to, well, Hong Kong. They started to do
Yes.
Hong Kong, the Asian stuff. And by the time it came around to the mid-2000s, to the 2000s and then the 2010s, listen, that's when they should have started to switch and cater to that. And they tried to do that with this movie, and they don't lean into it at all. And that was my big problem with it.
Right.
And yeah, I just going to straight up get into this. This movie is such a piece of shitter.
Wow.
It's one of the worst things. I don't know why this was even in theaters. Lazy, unfunny writing, bad blocking, unfinished CGI. Like, it have a plane crash and you see the bricks in render yet. Yeah, looking terrible. Terrible audio and sound listen. Like, I needed subtitles half the time for everybody talking, especially Stallone and 50 Cent.
Oh, jeez.
I cannot make out what they were saying.
Well, it's bad with Stallone, but 50 too?
50 is atrocious shit. Holy shit. The biggest sin is the complete wastage of Eco Waste and Todicha. Their respective signature franchises is about 10 and 20 years old at this point, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Angbak was what, 20 years old?
Angbak is 2003.
2003,
I believe,
yeah. I did the raid was what, 2012?
2010. The first one. Yeah.
First raid?
First raid was 2010.
No, 2012.
Or 12.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Sorry, I confused. And raid 2 was 2014. Oops. Yeah.
No, this is 2010. First Expendables is 2010.
Right.
And to me, sorry, but yeah, you should lean into that nostalgia. So, because to me, nostalgia should evolve, right? What Stallone gave us here is not nostalgia. It's just necromancy.
Oh, Jesus.
Right? It's just rubbish. Because they do something that kind of brave. All right, so I get straight up. Yeah, spoilers, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you, right?
Stallone's character dies somewhere in the first act, like at the end of the first act, right? Right.
Oh, they do that.
Right, they do that. But they do commit even worse than he's not dead. He comes back alive at the end because he faked his death to catch the bad guy. Because he had to suss out the bad guy, right? Again, I saying spoilers, fuck you, right? Because seriously, you don't need to see this movie.
So you inspired the rest of your team to go and do your job, and then you just come back like, hey, I faked it, so now you know who the villain is, shoot him.
Yeah, whatever. And then they bring in like Megan Fox in this, but like, why Megan Fox in this? She's not an action star. Like, what she was in Transformers, so that is it.
Yeah, I saw in the first trailer, like, all right, she with Jason, okay.
Right.
But you saw her and a bunch of other bodies with knives and guns.
No, yeah, she take over from the team because because what happens is Jason tried to save Stallone's life and he failed the mission. So he's supposed to do the mission and let Stallone dead. So he failed the mission, so they drop him now. But whatever. And I was gonna give this a low score and give it a pass if they didn't do that bullshit at the ending. But bringing back Stallone. If Stallone really died, it would have been fine. Like, okay, he sacrificed himself, but they move on. Because another thing too is that they should have characters move on. And it had occasional sprinklings of funny. A couple moments that are kind of crack a smile. Like it had this one joke where, okay, so Jason said, don't get fired. So you had no work. So you had to pose as a security guard, be a security guard for some TikTok, social media influencer type. No? This annoying media influencer. And then the fella confronted him with something and tried to shout him up. And then Jason said, cut your ass in front of the live stream. And it was popular and that went viral.
That's very
that's not the joke.
In a Jesus Steve.
No, that's not the funny part. That was unfunny bullshit. Nobody cared about that. What was kind of funny is that later, when Jason Statham was get back in his groove and went back to rescue Megan Fox and him, the guards was watching that same video and saying how much they find these guys their heroes. That kind of funny. It's like, this guy's my hero. We beat up the fella. And then Jason Statham, the same guy, come and watch them. Like,
yeah.
That kind of funny. Whatever. That got a small smile out of me. Little things like that. And then Tony Jaa had a couple okay action moments. Again, Tony Jaa and Iko Uwais should have fight each other. What the fuck?
Thank you.
Whatever.
Thank you.
Iko Uwais had a couple cool moments too. That's about it. Everything else is bullshit. 50 was a waste of time. Dolph Lundgren was a waste of time in this.
Who was the villain?
Iko Uwais was the kind of main villain for the most part, but then they reveal the later villain is a fellow. What the actor name?
Andy Garcia.
Andy Garcia, yeah, he's the villain.
Because when I saw the name in the credits, I was like,
hey, you always playing the fucking villain anyway.
Why are you this?
Andy Garcia is the villain, and they explain why. It's a bullshit reason. Nobody cares. Again, a better movie, I won't care about this, but like it have a nuke in it, and these people somehow escape a nuke, and it was like they only had like 1 minute left. It was ridiculous. Whatever. And the nuke blew up and everything. And I thinking, all right, better movies I just noticed it, but as light slide, like The Dark Knight Rises was still bullshit. Him escaping that nuke. Still bullshit. Sure. But like this...
I love that movie, but that whole nuke thing is like,
No. But this now is ridiculous. This was like, dude, you have less than a minute. How they escape on this slow-ass boat? How they escape on a helicopter? Helicopter not that fast? Whatever.
Because the action movie.
The action movie, I have to ignore it. You might, as being as charitable as willing to be, is like, all right, maybe it's like a real loyal nuke, like what happened with Hiroshima, like, what they use in Hiroshima, or it's not really a nuke, it's more like a MOBA, which is like the biggest non-nuclear bomb. Nah, it's a nuke, and they should have escaped that. It's bullshit. And because it's a bad movie, I'm noticing and nitpicking this stuff more. All the action sucked.
Wow.
Very little of it was like engaging. It's a waste of time. I don't know. And the stuff they bring up, the ending especially where you find out how Stallone escape. I'm like, what the fuck? That's like, I know the fella's a bad guy, but does he deserve to be murdered in this way? That don't really make me root for the heroes. I mean, whatever. It was terrible. Everything was just cringy as hell. Everything was just so performative and weird. And again, evolve the action genre, dude. They should have, you see, the thing with this franchise I felt is that they should have evolved to more international stuff and, to me, go more ridiculous and Fast and Furious with it. Yeah. I know Fast and Furious going in a bad direction, but when it was good, it was good. To me, they could have do some of that. Like, they could have Singham in this or something like that. Just do something. Like, but to me, it was, Iko Uwais on them is what you could have do. And they just totally waste this. Oh, Tony Jaa's arc is rubbish in this. Like, he's this peace-loving guy, and you don't want to turn to a monster again, and then he come back and kill a set of people, and they don't even address this once. Whatever. Moving on.
I just feel so sad when I just hear Tony Jaa and Iko Uwais in shitty films.
I'm sick of this shit, man.
By now.
Yeah,
dude. They should have the clap. Like, all right, Tony Jaa...
I'll say, where is Tony Jaa and Iko Uwais' Rumble in the Bronx?
Thank you.
Where is those?
Thank you.
Where are those? Where is your... What is... Operation Condor, or where
Yeah.
the good Western movies where it's kick-ass now, or Who Am I, or something like that, where
yeah.
let's get a real good Western movie for them and let's let them show off their skills.
Yeah.
They should
And
be
I
doing
actually
this shit.
talked about this in a review of Jiu-Jitsu, like,
Yeah.
the fall of the martial arts hero. Like,
Yeah.
like, like, I'm not saying that they have to spend their whole lives starring in action films, right?
Yeah,
But at least give them one
give them something,
big hit now,
Yeah.
to put them to the
I
masses.
mean, compared to the god tier action that was the Raid movies, right?
Mhm.
I mean, this is absurd, Dread. Like, it's a real damn shame they waste the two of them in this way, Dread. I like what, both of them, like, what, in the 40s now? They're in the
Yeah.
40s now? It's-
I feel it is before I get to it, and I feel like whoever directed, I don't want to say Stallone, but I know Stallone had a part to play with the creative, just didn't know what to do with them. Just
Exactly.
didn't know
No, that's the thing. Stallone and them still, listen, Stallone want to do his style of action, like, as if it's fucking Rambo 3 or whatever. It is still that bullshit. And it's like, dude, you had to evolve and move on from that crap, dude. And yeah, whatever. Is rubbish. This get like a 1 out of 10 for me, or probably even lower. Like, I have no problem giving this like a 0 or something. Like, this is so much shit. And look, I would have been more mad. I would have been more mad if this was, like, if I was in a bad mood or something like that. But, like, I had a real good day otherwise watching this. But I didn't, like, sour the day or nothing like that. But it's just, I can't believe I watched this bullshit. Like, the whole thing's so bad, dude. It's so bad. Like, it's just a colossal mess and a waste of time. Right, and that's not even taking into account all the bullshit behind the scenes with Terry Crews and what happened to him, and that was a whole piece of drama. You had to look up that. I didn't here for that. Google it, you'll find out. But yeah, seriously, fuck this movie, Dread. This is so much garbage, Dread. I cannot believe they decided to make this, Dread. Unfinished nonsense. They should have put it. I don't even think they should have put this on streaming. You know why? Because we just had Extraction earlier this year.
Yes.
And it was fucking hard. So it's like, what's this?
Yeah.
What the hell is this? Yeah. Waste my time.
So
Rubbish.
Hollywood, stop. You see the moment where you put 4 in between the name of the show? That's when you know. That's when you know it's a bad sign, right? It happened with Fan Four Stick.
Yeah.
So here we are again, right? So let's see what's the next 4th film to get its 4/5th titling, right? And it might be trash for all we know. But yeah, I'm both surprised and not surprised at the same time by how bad this movie is. I still want to see it for myself, but I ain't gonna pay no ticket price to see it in theaters. I'll wait till it come out digitally, and for all I know, it most likely will be in my top 5 worst stuff for the year. So there's a slot right now for it.
I think it was noticeable is how unfinished the CG was. So like the version, like I'm sure by the time it reached, think you might have a finished CG, but it looked unfinished.
I doubt it.
It looked unfinished because like when you fella crash into the bricks, you see the bricks still rendered, half rendered, look like them something from Windows 95. Looking fucking terrible.
Wow.
So yeah, no, it's a real PS1 thing.
Jesus, PS1 we talking
No,
about.
like, terrible. Garbage
Hey,
movie.
it's
though.
nostalgia. Haha, think about it, right?
Yeah, garbage movie.
Boy,
Garbage.
what you gonna do?